do a poem for you here. I'm going to give you a little descriptor before it. It's called Bray Jen. It's about a woman. I wrote it for a woman, a friend of mine. She's an amazing, powerful, beautiful woman that had a problem with drugs, and she had lost her son, Tristan, to the Ministry of Children and Families. But she carried on partying and lived in this crazy social scene with tons of people. She was a DJ, and I wanted to shock her into seeing what was going on around her. And so I wrote this for her and read it to her. It had kind of an effect. But it's called Bray Jen because her real name's Jen, but she went by Bray as her DJ and social name. Okay. When you are close, your aromatic life force next to mine, I sense a presence. It is a matriarch as old as the sound the wind makes when it shakes old growth cedar, the eyes of Auster weeping from storms of a spring that's nearing the season of Easter. She has a son who lost his goddess to that storm's confusion, a daedalic dynamic ripped apart by society's justifiable obsession with drug psychosis and delusion. If you have a child where you are suffering from addiction, you will lose them. A cryptic community of selfish sins is subject to a government grift while you're unslept, unclear, and thin. A semi-lucid actress may be dripping in the beauty of love life and the art of illusion, but she is subject to these familial intrusions. Those devils with ties of their own to play and pay, an economic structure that preys on the weak, week after week after week. But this girl's smile was born of a Medusa's glare, and on each and every day it required a stare of a rarity indescribable. She could send men to a place of cold stone where everything under her sun mattered little, her son's soul crippled. A beauty like this can leave your last lover's memory belittled. The riddle of her back porch inspired scorched ghosts to be ready to give up their best faces, all laced up with all the gravity and levity they could possibly summon, especially after 3 nights and 3 days spent cooking themselves in urban ovens, pharmacologically stubborn. For a few moments on each of these nights, techno up, sleazy, needy, and sweaty, a hurricane goddess's grin walks into the room and the crowd becomes ready for more Bray steady. The act of simply watching her transforms the minds of the men into committing the sin of asking, what will she let me, and how much of my future will she bet me? But that's a lot of pressure for Easter's goddess. A boiling pot of snake oil and crystalline bubbles puddling above a fire makes a decent man trade his honor for dishonest and godlessness, a self-miring campaign of receiving and repelling, liar after liar after liar. All heroes are retired in shame as she is drawn into game after game after game. But her being the inspiration that she is, she rises to each occasion with an invocation of self-worth, unearthed and inspired by her story of her young man's birth. The girth of this artificial community becomes tried, tired, and bested. The men don't care about her or her son. They are here for the sex, the drugs, and the desires requested. For so many, the hurt, the screaming, and the heavy falling down on her doors, pouring whatever it takes to show her that she's their deity, comes from a place where their cravings are shallow, greedy, toxic, and is not interested in the sound of a second. He sounds too much like we. She doesn't want to leave her friends in her position of atrophy. This is now her family. But strategically, she becomes more and more ready by the minute. There is a limit to what she can pretend to be, and any real relationship comes with a contingency. Her, the boy, and any man set to steal her heart makes 3, a lifeboat on fire in a sea of unpreparedness. Some men that surround and make sounds that they genuinely care regardless of this precipice, contentiousness for a fight they don't even know how to win. But as Bray's hair falls down like grace, it becomes a ladder for lifting enchantresses and enchanters to a place they want to be beside her. They don't think about how this divides her. Eventually the strength of that rope breaks. Faking the fun turns to hate and blame turns in on itself. Draining self-worth and belief in the power of that young man's birth. She becomes a blur, a whirlwind of her, a girl that watches and lurks through all of the hurt, a pot of gold stirred, baked, and burnt. But this goddess has the strength, she has the will, she knows the smell of the kill and the blood that matters so much more than the shrill water that shatters as it is offered and offered and offered. A sacrifice to herself on a golden dawn, drawing on long shadows and exiting with the exhale. Escape is on her mind now. No more will she be willfully blind now. She must find the time now. How, when she's too tired to shout and doubt will no longer leave her? She will not submit to the story that sits in the dark and waits to be her. She will rip that page out and burn it just to leave her. Her fate must be that face she just has to remember, but her heart rests too far left of the center. This is a queen unable to lift her scepter. I can feel this lying next to her. Her boy Tristan's smile is her sunshine, a child that can bring love, life and laugh lines for a lifetime. It's hard to see him now in the nighttime, can't get up on time at the right time. The days slipped away like the high tide line. She stammers, then moments of recognition break down the apartment walls with a hammer. Flailing falls crash down to the floor beside bits and pieces of the hallway where they all sit. Hiding in the washroom, she's a bit too sad to be the glamour. The place is always empty, with people, faces, places, and objects clustered and cluttered. Bray's lonely but never alone. 101 phone conversations that roam without a single connection or corroboration that her heart is breaking. Bray is emotionless and shaking. Her home is cleaned by strangers day after day after day, but it still smells like a tomb of decay. Never high enough for the lie to be forgotten, the life that came from her life, begotten, and then lost in the storm. Every other need gets delivered on a platter, shattering her focus on the one that was meant to be the closest. When she hears someone really actually cares, it's all just hocus pocus. Staring at the clock, some wonder where is she now? They're scared of the answer, and so is she. Her son makes 3. But anything should be attempted to pull this goddess free, open her light and empower her to see what it is she can be. Because it is her nature. Bray nurtures and labors for her fake family. It is toxic to deny her place where it has got to be. A mother, a matriarch, it's a lot to be. For Bray, it will bring her the power to overcome and overcame all that is denied her. The mother, the leader inside her. Nothing will ever take her down again if the universe lends just one more chance to attain her family at last. So little time left, leaving minute after minute after minute slipping away so fast. Oster comes in the springtime. It is her strongest season. Please allow her the patience to listen and learn from these reasons. Come sit softly, Bray, up and here on the edge of our city. Look down into peaceful moments, quiet, stoic, and pretty. The calm can be genuine if you just let it be. Please don't go back home. That house, those friends are only alone. Bray, you have not reached the end. A sunny Easter waits for you just around the bend. This will be your time to rise, a resurrection, once and for all and again. Do it for Bray, for Tristan, and for Jen. Should you fail, I will always be here, your friend.
And when trees again erupted, a phone call said that you were dead, and for a moment I was relieved, needing to live with your